We're joined by Ankita Somani, research analyst at MSFL. Ankita, thanks for joining us on NDTV Profit. The kind of average pay hikes that Infosys is talking about is the same as last year. Now, we want to try and understand what kind of message is it sending about the business they will do, because last year was good, expected, and Infosys has done well. Business in the US has prospered, the US economy is prospering, but it's not translating into pay hikes. What is this showing?
Hi. Of course, it's not translating into the pay hikes, but they have given a pay hike on an average from 6.5 to 8%. We need to discount that in the last 2 quarters, in Q2 and Q3, the company has given 100% variable payout. So either there or here, the company is trying to compensate in terms of the salary revision. Any which ways, the 100% variable payouts are there into the employee costs of the company. So I think because of that, the pay hikes have been less than what we have expected it to be.
But what they're going to give for people onshore is even lower, at just about 2%. For the good top performers, of course, salary hikes is 15 to 20%. But given that attrition still remains high, doesn't this mean that more flux will be seen at Infosys?
There's one thing that on-site pay hikes have always been in the range of 2 to 3%, maximum 4% for peer companies of Infosys as well. 2% slightly on the lower side. That's definitely there. But we have seen that as soon as the attrition increases, the company tries and manages attrition with the use of variable payouts rather than giving salary wage hikes. And that's been happening since 3 quarters now. And I'm really expecting that, if attrition again spikes up for the company, probably Mr. Vishal Sikka and his team will take decisions around variable pay hike rather than actually around, the fixed pays that the employees got.
But have these variable pay hikes helped over the last 3 quarters, because the attrition is still high?
See, the attrition rate that we see is on a last 12 months basis, LTM basis, so it has got an impact of previous quarters as well. I think from this quarter onwards, the attrition rate that we see will be cooling off, because after that 100% variable pay hike in Q2 and Q3, attrition on an absolute basis has been coming down. So I think the impact in the LTM attrition rate that the company reports will be seen from this quarter onwards. And I am expecting attrition to go down further. See, it's not about Infy. I'm sure other companies will also be giving, like TCS last time gave around 10% onshore, but we are expecting TCS to again in the range of 8 to 10%. But there is no, the company has never announced any 100% variable pay or any variable pay during the quarter. TCS has always been one company which gives out promotions, variable pays and everything in Q1. So I think that is, comparable and direct peers of the company needs to be mapped over here rather than just, mapping Infosys standalone.
Right, but for TCS, then the earnings become more, predictable if they're coming out with whatever wage revisions happen at one go in the first quarter. What is the outlook that you have for margins for Infosys? Because if the variable payout remains high, how do you determine where the margins will go?
For last 2 quarters, margins of Infy has been going down. We have seen that. For this quarter, the company has not given any variable pay in Q4. So I expect margins to remain relatively stable than what they were in the last quarter. But of course, in Q1, we are expecting around 200 basis points negative impact because of wage hikes that the company has announced.
All right. What about some of the other companies, like HCL has staggered wage hikes? Then a lot of people are talking about Wipro also coming out with a good performance, and if they want to increase their presence in some of these upcoming spaces like IMS and even a big data, then they'll have to spend more on the talent as well. What kind of payouts are expected of the other IT companies?
As such, none of the staggered wage hike kind of indications have been given by any management, but that happens in typically in any IT services company. We see that 80% of the employees get wage hike as soon as the wage hike cycle is there, and the rest 20% which are on the higher cost actually gets it a quarter after. And Wipro any which was announced in June. So the full impact wage hike, some amount of that wage hike impact comes in Q1 and the full impact actually comes in Q2. We have never seen Wipro actually having a full quarter impact, like a 250 basis point kind of impact in one quarter only. The wage hikes which will get staggered between 2 quarters. So it's like that. HCL Tech again announces in July, so they get impact in July. Tech Mahindra has which ways postponed the wage hike, so they are going to give wage hikes from January onwards. So we are going to see around 200 basis points negative impact in Tech Mahindra's margin in Q4 numbers.
Okay, so we're going to have a negative impact for Tech Mahindra, but amongst all the technology companies, now we're at the brink of the results season as well. Which company do you think will outperform when it comes to margins?
See, our performance as such is very difficult in this quarter if we see, given the fact that rupee has not moved much either side, but cross currency has been quite adverse. And demand momentum is not that great. We have seen almost every other company coming out and announcing either project-specific issues or deferrals in projects or slowdown in ramp-ups and all. So I don't think margin per se we are going to see a good performance. What I will be looking out for from these quarter results would be what is the visibility in terms of CY15 budgets, because that is something which is, it's more important right now, because budget outlook will actually give us an outlook of the demand for CY15 and accordingly then we'll be able to map margins.
All right. Thank you so much, Ankita, for speaking with us at NDTV Profit.